Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the greatest time of the day. From the center of the universe, New York City, it's the main event you've been waiting for. It's time to go in the cage with Cyclone.
And your Messiah has come back. Incredibly, because it took me about 3 hours to get here through traffic. Unbelievable. And joining me on the line, not only is it MMA fighter and so much more, he's one of the most colorful people in MMA. All the way from Houston, Texas, Mike Jackson. Mike, thank you so much for coming aboard.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. How's everything going out there in New York?
I got to ask you first up, how's the traffic down in Texas?
It's bad. It's not New York bad, but it's pretty bad. You know, for me, I live in the suburbs, so I'm away from most of the real crazy traffic. But, you know, from time to time, I do have to make that trek toward downtown Houston, especially when I'm going to the gym. And, man, and let me tell you, it's pretty bad.
Oy. You know what? As long as neither one of us has to deal with the LA traffic.
Oh, man, I've been in LA traffic before. Funny story. I went out to Cali. This was probably about 3-4 years ago. And I was out there training with Ashley Evans Smith. And the last few days, we were kind of kicking it with Mayhem Miller. And the last day that, last day I was flying out, but we wanted to get some training in earlier. I had a later flight. So we got some early training in. Ashley, for whatever reason, I can't remember what happened. She couldn't take me to the airport, but Mayhem was like, I'll take you. And so I was like, all right, cool. So it was probably, I had to be at the airport, let's say by 5:30, right? So, crazy traffic. But, we made it on time, just barely. But as we're going through traffic and kind of stop and go bumper to bumper, I guess Mayhem is a little perturbed about being in traffic. And he's also, I guess he's trying to talk, and I'm kind of on my phone, so he's upset I'm on my phone. And I guess the dude, just pulled out a water gun. He was just, shooting people in traffic. One dude I remember had a convertible. And so, right as we were, speeding by the reverse, dude just, empties the water gun all on dude's head. It was pretty funny. Good times.
Jeez. You know what? I don't put it past Mayhem to do anything nuts.
Oh, no. I mean, that was the thing is, I remember when I didn't know that I was going to be meeting him that was the first time I met him. And I had no idea I was going to be meeting him, but, we were just kicking it. And he's a real nice guy, real cool cat. But the dude is different. and all the respect, he opened his home to me. I get to kick it with him, chill out. He took me to the airport. But the dude is he's a different cat. So when you hear these stories and things that happen, even things that you've seen him do in the past, it makes sense. That's him.
Okay, so a Sophie's choice for you. Because you've done everything, if you had to choose one and one only, would it be the boxing, the kickboxing, or the MMA?
Oh, man. There are other variables. If you just take the pure sport of it, it would be probably kickboxing. If you're looking at just the sport. But if you factor in the publicity, the money, and all of this, you have to go with MMA just because of the current climate, the current times what's going on, and just the evolution of the sport. You have to rock with MMA. But if it's just pure sport based, man, I love boxing, but kickboxing just seems to be right there at the great sort of like middle ground for me.
Now, when you first got that phone call from Dana, how much did that mean to you, being that you did other things first?
Well, and I was aware before I got the call. Like I was pretty aware of what was going on leading up to it. Now the initial call, it didn't come from Dana. It came from a good friend of mine, Colin Cantrell, who at the time was the Legacy FC matchmaker, who's now currently, while he just had his first show, he's now the Invicta matchmaker. But you know, he gave me a ring one day. It was completely out of the blue. I'd taken, you know, at least like 2 or 3 months off. Like I had an injury come up, and I was the type of that I've never really taken time off, even with injuries. And I've never had any major injuries, but never really taken any time off. Just, you know, I'll take a little time off through a fight, you know, eat a little bit, you know, hang out. But never nothing crazy. Well, I had an injury come up that was just kind of nagging me. Went to the doctor, and they were like, yo, you need to take like 2 months off to just like, you know, let it heal, because you had to let it heal. So I did that. I was back to training a week, and that's when I got the call. Like it was completely out of the blue. And to be honest with you, I would say that's when every like life, I wouldn't say that in particular was a life-changing moment, which obviously, you know, it had benefits that came with it, but just like that entire moment, because it was the beginning of 2016, like late January. No, because the fight was in February, so this was probably like late December, early January. You know, when I got the call. So right then, from that moment on, was all life changing. Like my life has been on a different course since that time, and it's been crazy. But you know, when I initially got the call, I was confused because it didn't. Well, let me rephrase. When I first got the call, it wasn't made aware that I would be fighting in the UFC. It was presented that I would be fighting Mickey Gall for Legacy, and then the winner from the fight on the Legacy card would go on to the UFC to fight Punk. That was how it was presented to me, and I was kind of hesitant at first because, you know, I understand how the business side of MMA works, not just the front end. I understand the back end as well. And, you know, you're calculating all these things and, you know, the risk and reward, you know, factors. And it really didn't make sense for me to take this fight on a Legacy card. And so I was kind of hesitant. And then they, you know, Colin, he can understand my hesitation. And then, you know, he's like, all right, look, you're going to be fighting the UFC. He said, just take the fight. You know, and that's how the fight came about, you know, and the rest is history from the journey from that point on. You know, it's been documented. But yeah, you know, it's just been a crazy transition the past. Well, we're almost 3 years from that point. You know, it's been a crazy ride.
Now, look, you're one of the most colorful people out there, and being as such, you do get some shade thrown your way. Does any of that even bother you?
Not at all. And here's why. Now, if this were 5 years ago, maybe. You know, I wouldn't even say maybe. It would have. But, you know, I have grown as like not only in the fighting world, just as a person. I've grown and I'm matured, and you know, I'm at the point in my life where, first of all, I'm literally at the happiest I've ever been in life, right? So I'm at the happiest I've ever been. You think I'm going to let some dude who I've never met, who means nothing to me, you think I'm going to let his opinion bother me or cause me to lose any sleep? Not at all. You know, at the end of the day, it's myself and sort of in the forefront here, you know, taking the brunt of this. And, you know, these people that they just run their mouths. And what I realize is that, you know, and you hear Joe Rogan say, he's like, you know, if you're winning, if you're doing things well in life, you're not going and attacking people, you know, out of nowhere, right? You're now, obviously, you got an issue with someone, that's a different thing. but you're not just waking up one day and going in and attacking people, right?
Right.
So for me to see these people attack me that don't know me, or even if they have their opinions about the fight, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So like I said, I don't let it bother me. I don't lose any sleep. I hit the block or the mute or whatever. Actually, I'm a muter. I'm not a blocker, because if I block them, then they get satisfaction out of that as well. I just mute them. They can keep talking. I'm not hearing anything, and we both win.
Some good points. So, out of all your skills, when did you manage to pick up photography?
Actually, I began with that. As a kid growing up. Well, let me rephrase. It wasn't as like I was now like photographing landscapes and butterflies or anything. For me, I always had a disposable. When I was young, I grew up. I was born in '85. So when I grew up, there were disposable cameras were big, even the Polaroid joints, like the early '90s. But I always had a camera, and then my mother, she would always she liked taking pictures too. And talking to people like these family events, like we had photo. I can go into the room right now. We got a box of photo albums, So for me as a kid, I was always with a camera, either me taking a picture or in a picture. And then how I became got on the pro side of it, shooting fights. Well, I was always at events, and it started with me. I was a videographer. I would record the fights, and that's kind of how I built my name up with my video blogs and things like that. But I was always at events, and I was taking pictures with other people, and it was really a way for me to I would have a little photographer with me, and whoever I'm seeing out, I'm taking pictures and meeting people and shaking hands and hugging people. And I would upload those, and people really was digging them. And how I got into that was me with a camera in the hand, or vice versa, with someone else taking a picture of me. But I really there was this, long story short, it was a dude, terrible person. He's a photographer, and being that I know how to use a camera, and then I also, I know the fighting world, like I know body movements and things like that. The action photography just came to me, and obviously you learn and things like that. You learn the camera, you learn shooting techniques and framing and things like that. But for me, I learned everything on the job, And now I've probably been shooting maybe like 7 years, 6-7 years. But where we're at now, I'm easily one of the best combat sports photographers in the game. I just, my work state, you can see it. You look at my work compared to a lot of other people's works, and you can see the difference. The quality of the pictures, the framing, everything is better, So yeah, I'm one of the builders in the game, and it's also one of those things where you got to set something up for once you're done fighting. You can't fight forever. You got to have a little hustle or something. And for me right now, when I'm not fighting, because for me fighting is I don't want to say it's a hobby, because I've been training consistently for a decade, but I'm not in it like everyone else is. I do it because I just love the sport. But like I said, I know I need something to set me up after, and that's where the photography comes in.
Well, just to let you know, way, way back, probably, same time you were starting out, because I'm so much older, when I was in college, I was on the baseball team, and we always had to take these extra elective classes, and I wound up taking black and white photography, and okay. I got stuck using a Pentax K1000.
I remember the Pentax. Did you use the darkroom to develop out of the
Yes.
Well, yeah, you ought to have digital then. I'm sorry, but yeah, you ought to have the darkroom developing it as well, right?
Yep. And I will remember that camera and all the chaos it caused me till the day I die.
I know about those, man. That was the good old days. People still shoot film. Pretty. Not obviously it's not major like it used to be, but there's a nice little niche of photographers out there, man, that love shooting with film.
Really?
Yeah. And because I think for them, they like the entire process of you're shooting a film and doing the developing themselves. You get a lot of people who really enjoy that process. And so I think that's why they do it.
Well, right now on our live stream, two of our bigger fans, Brian Horan and Curtis Williams, say, "What's up to you?"
What's up, fellas? Hope y'all enjoying y'all evenings. Other than that, I don't know where y'all. I don't know where those guys are, man. I'm in Houston, and man, it got cold out here the past few days. Which, the crazy thing is we're in, the winter season, late November, and you expect it to be cold. But, the past few years it's been warming up. You kind of get used to that warmth. And,
Right.
it hit like 30s earlier this week, and it kind of caught me off guard. And I hear, even in New York, I had a bad snowstorm here. What was that? Late last week, something like that?
Yeah, we got hit with, it was fast, short, and then it all went away really fast. But it wrecked
Man,
everybody's Thursday. It completely destroyed it.
Okay. Yeah, I heard even the Port Authority was shut down for
Yep.
They had to not let people in. Yeah, I called some of my people out there. And I was like, "Yo, what's poppin' in New York?" And the boys, like, "Yo, wow, they shut it down." Like, I know this one lady, she waited 2 hours at Port Authority. She finally caught the bus, and then the bus broke down on the road. She had to wait another 2.5 hours. I felt so bad for that lady.
I was actually going the opposite way into Port Authority when all that was going down, by the way.
Okay.
Now, as someone who works for LFA, you get to see everybody up close before the glitz and the glamour, of the UFC, of a Bellator hits them. I'm just curious, your opinion. Is Sabina Mazo someone that could make that transition to the next level?
She is. She's really that good. I was hoping, and I didn't know anything about the girl that she just fought, the lady from Brazil. I didn't know anything leading up to the fight, and so I was kind of going by, even with the fans were watching, and you could tell early on. The first 2 minutes of the fight, you could tell she really didn't know what as far as the striking side of it. She was not anywhere near Sabina's caliber. And so you mix that in with, I feel that Sabina wanted to get the rounds in, to be honest with you. And then she's not really a knockout artist. Yeah, she gets the head kick knockouts. But again, you kick anybody in the face. The potential of knocking them out is there. I don't think she has the punching power to finish people. With one shot. I think in accumulation, yes. But one shot, no. I was looking for her to do a little bit more, being that, now, like I said, there's dangers because the girl, she was obviously a grappler. She was trying to get us to the ground, but Sabina did an amazing job defending that. But I would have liked to see a little bit more, especially in rounds 3 and 4, or even especially in 5, knowing that she had nothing for her. The girl had nothing for Sabina, so I would have liked to see her open up a little bit. Even if you're going to go to a decision, I would have liked to see her try out some more. Now, nothing crazy and risky, but she basically won with just throwing jabs and crosses. She basically, she threw some kicks here and there. She picked up the head kicks toward rounds 3 and 4. But she legit won the fight off the jab and the cross. And I would have, like I said, being that she was a so much better fighter, I would have liked to see her do more. With that win, she's not going anywhere. She's going to get another fight. But I'm hoping that the following fight, they're going to give her, the competition is going to step up tremendously or greatly. Because you can't continue to fight fighters who far lower than you and expect to exceed or do well in the UFC. She'll be, she's going to go to, what is she, 25?
Yeah.
She's going to go out there, and we got some killers, man. Not to say she can't compete with them, but it's a different level, and I want to see her, I just want to see a better Sabina Mazo than what we're seeing now once she gets to the UFC level.
Now, speaking of raising things to the next level, I have to ask you, what do you think about Johnny Walker's lay down on Roundtree?
Man, I'll be honest with you. Going into the fight, I was just like, I think it was too much. I legit didn't feel that, Roundtree had, the skills to defeat Roundtree. But I mean, that's why it's a fight. You know what I'm saying? But when you have someone who is that athletic, who is that long, and he's not. I mean, he's not a technical fighter. He's just a dude he's just a dude who can swing. He's a hitter, and especially at that weight. Anything can happen, and that's kind of what we saw. But I mean, we saw any 205 heavyweight. That anything like that can happen. Just look at these rising stars who are coming up so quick. Like the Francis Ngannou's. Even at 205, you had or at 85, you have a Stylebender, Israel, who's coming up fast. You get guys like that. I was surprised, but I definitely want to see what happens next. Because again, even against other 205ers, he's going to be a bigger guy. He's like 6'6", something like that. I want to see what he can do. So like I said, I like styles like that. I like fights like that. You just never know what's going to happen.
Now, are you in favor of a 165 division?
That would be ideal. And if it was there, I would definitely. Well, even though I haven't been there in a few years, which is part of the reason why I called out the GOAT, Artem. I can make 55. That's a huge cut for me. Ideally, if there was a 65 division, I would be there. When I box at 65, and it's a cut, but that's an easy cut for me. That's a legit easy cut. Like 70 is not even really a cut, unless like the week before I'm eating like burgers and pasta or something. The week before, and even for the Punk fight. I got to Chicago. I was like at 78, and it was a breeze. Like it wasn't really a weight cut. It was more just eating the right foods and just getting like little sweats, little workouts on, and the weight just came off.
Now, as a fighter, I got to get your opinion on this. The whole thing with weight cutting, right? Is there ever going to be a definitive 100% across the board way to continue to stay as healthy as possible and to not miss weight?
No, and here's why. To implement that type of system is going to cost a lot of money. And again, I told you when I kicked off, I told you I know how the back end, the business side works. Mm-hmm. So one thing that people don't understand is that to have something like that, you're going to have your fighters who are constantly are being like their weight is being checked and constantly monitored, right? The only person that can afford to do that really right now is the UFC. When you get there on Tuesday, they check your weight as soon as you get there. And they see where you are, and then they go from there. The smaller organizations can't afford to do that because what's going to happen is you're going to have the athletic commissions. One, if a promotion does it, the promotion is going to have to hire a whole new group of people or delegate those jobs to someone, which is going to cost money. Or you have the athletic commissions who are going to oversee it, and they're going to charge the promotions for that. And it's really all of this comes down to money. Is really what it is. It's not even the execution of it. It's because it's all great ideas, but the thing that makes it all work is money, and who's going to pay for it is the question. So no, I don't. The weight cutting thing outside of unless maybe USADA kind of plays a role in it, it's just never going to happen. As far as regulating weight cutting and making sure people are doing it the healthy and safe way.
And haven't you guys, obviously there's no union, but togetherness, I think and correct me if I'm wrong on this, haven't the majority of you guys in the UFC had enough of USADA?
So it's a catch-22 kind of situation you're in. Me personally, I'm the kind of guy you almost have to exclude from the rest of the pool just because of like how I maneuver around the sport. But for other fighters, it's a good thing, obviously, because it's catching cheaters. It's catching fighters who are purposefully trying to game the system and have an advantage using steroids. The other side of this is that because they can constantly add things, and I don't know if they take things away from the list, but I know they constantly are adding things to the list. And look, that list is long. I'll get an email. I got a text message the other day like, hey, you haven't checked into USADA in like, X amount of days or weeks or whatever. You need to check in. People aren't really going through that list, and because the majority of fighters aren't doing anything bad, or in their mind, they're not doing anything bad. They're not taking anything bad. They're not purposefully injecting with, HGH or steroids or whatever. But regular fighters are just out here taking supplements. Now, that's the thing about supplements, man. If you look at the back of a supplement bottle, there's so many ingredients on there. No one is looking at the list of what's in their supplements and checking it against the list against USADA. It's just not happening. But like I said, so that's one of the issues. The other issue is that when you have people who take something accidentally, right? The USADA doesn't like, if the dude says, I think it was like Tim Means was a recent one, who actually, we'll use, no, let's not, I was about to say use O'Malley, but that's because USADA's kind of changed their system. So we'll go back to Tim. So Tim comes out and he says, man, look, I got first of all, USADA or whoever puts the memo or new press release out, Tim Means spells us tech. So now Tim has to come and defend himself. Guys, I didn't purposely take anything. I don't know what's going on. It could be a tainted supplement, right? Then you come back and you find out that it actually was a tainted supplement. It wasn't Tim maliciously taking anything. But then they're like, all right, well, I think they didn't even, I don't think they suspended the suspension. I think they were just like, we'll just kind of like give you time served or whatever, right? But the issue with that is, even though it was proven that he took a tainted supplement, you leave the failed drug test on his record. You just say, we'll just suspend the suspension. We'll just give you time served. Like, no, the suspension is still on my record. And then USADA doesn't come back and say, hey guys, our bad. It was, and that stigma stays with fighters. Look at Chris Cyborg. She popped and, it wasn't even a steroid she got popped for. I think she got popped for like a diuretic or something. And people just say, you're a cheater because you took steroids. And she didn't take a steroid, and so that's the main issue with USADA is there's really no accountability for when they mess up. If fighters mess up, it's like, all right, well then fighters got to take all the blame. USADA messes up, the fighter still takes the blame. I do like that they changed something where now they don't come out and release that the person's failed. And like the Sean O'Malley thing, he came out and said, hey guys, I'm not fighting because I failed, but this is why I failed. But then earlier this week or last week, they came out and he was like, it was something about a supplement, and it was like a 0.01 milligram of something, and it's like you suspend this guy after you find out it was trace amounts, it wasn't even or whatever. I don't know how that works, but whatever it was a minuscule of minuscule amounts, and he still gets suspended. And then they say, all right, well, because I think he's going to come back in a few months or whatever. Maybe they cut the time down. But it's still, the suspension is still in this guy's record.
Right.
You know? So that's really, I think, the biggest issues with USADA is that they're holding fighters accountable, but then they don't want to hold themselves accountable for when they make mistakes. And then, you know what, man, I hate when they come at 6 a.m. knocking the door. Like, come in regular people hours, not 6. Jesus. So yeah, that's my plight with USADA.
So, is there any chance you get on the Brooklyn card?
Man, that would be dope. I love New York. I don't know. When is the Brooklyn card?
January 19th.
I doubt I'll be on that one. That's a little too soon. I actually, I was supposed to be on the Argentina card this past weekend. I got into training, and some injuries flared up, and that kind of caused me to kind of sit this one out. So I'm trying to let all of these kind of heal. I'm actually going out to Vegas here first week in December. I'm gonna go out there, go to the PI, get some stuff looked at, get me checked out, and see what the skinny is, And so hopefully we'll get something. I'm looking at first quarter, so hopefully maybe February, March. March be cool. It's around birthday time. Spring break. So hopefully we get a cool little destination come March.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you can get to Brooklyn for that Brooklyn card, I know a lot of the greatest burlesque places here in New York.
The greatest who places?
The burlesque places.
Oh, okay. I see. I like where your head is.
I would have no problem bringing you around.
I was in Chicago. I went to Chicago and saw a burlesque show. But no, I'm definitely with the burlesque scene.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you very much for your time.
Man, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Dude, I am humbled that you came on with me, man.
Of course, man. Cool cat. I had no reason not to come on. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully, your listeners, they enjoyed the little talk we had, and hopefully they can follow along with the rest of my career.
Cool. Well, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, have a good one.
All right, bye-bye. How amazing was that? Holy smokes. And show's almost over. This is what I'm telling you. Slowly and surely, step by step, we are getting bigger and better, all right? So I want to remind everybody really fast to please, pretty please share this. And after me is, of course, Pinups, Cool Cats, and Comics, and I want you to share that show too. There's nothing better than right here on Strong Island Television. Just keep it right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to set this whole shing-ding up when we come back, right after this.
This is Frank Edgar.
This is the Barbarian Tim Bosch.
I'm World Series of Fighting undefeated lightweight champion Justin Gaethje.
MMA legend, UFC Hall of Famer, Iceman. Check it out. If you got the guts, step in the cage with Cyclone.
Alrighty, we are back, and you know what? I know a lot of you guys want to expand, talk more combat sports, and you know what? Because of how long the interview went, which is great, I'm not knocking it. I'm happy to get 5 minutes with Mike Jackson. And by the way, I believe the website is MikeTheTruth.com is his site, so you can check out all his photo work, everything else. Let's talk some wrestling. WWE this weekend, besides 1,000 MMA cards, the WWE took off this weekend, and wow, this was one of their best weekends in a long, long time. Excluding Evolution, a couple miles away at the Coliseum, NXT Takeover, Survivor Series, A+ overall is, excuse me, what I think I'd give them on the writing. It was great seeing the pop, the audience reaction to Matt Riddle finally making it into NXT, but it's the WWE. He was just too big for the Indies, and as great as Matt Riddle is as a human being, which he is, trust me, he's going to be exponentially better at wrestling than he ever was at MMA. Okay. Shayna Baszler continues to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And dare I say this, wrestling fans, I think she is almost, I'm not saying exactly, almost like the female version of Kevin Owens. I know that's probably going to get me a lot of shade thrown my way, but that's what I think. Shayna has improved everywhere. On the mic, in the ring, outside, everything. The evolution of her skills has improved. What else? Oh, say what you want about gimmicks, but when a 23-year-old gets the business, understands the business, understands how to improve, how to get better, how to become crossover superstar status. That's what we're seeing in Velveteen Dream. Okay. Sure, coming out as, NWO Hogan, a little bit hacky-ish for me, personally, but I'm telling you, this kid gets it. And he, too, is only improving. Right now, the WWE is sort of in step-by-step with what some divisions are in the UFC. They're on the verge of that turnover where the older guys take a step back and go bye-bye, and a flood of new guys come on in. And look, no, Brandon. That's just the way things are, especially in combat sports. It's so cyclical. And right now it's on that verge of a major, major uptick for the WWE. Their writing has suffered for the last umpteen years, I'd say, because there was really nobody, I don't want to say nobody knew, but nobody that could make that crossover. Now you're seeing a flood of people that are able to do that. I think Ricochet's double moonsault off the cage this weekend was absolutely one of the most memorable. If you could take a move, it was going to go down as one of the most memorable WWE, WWF's, WWWF's moves ever. Now, for me personally, it wasn't as classic as, say, Jimmy Snuka off the top of the cage splatting down on Don Morocco at the Garden, but nonetheless, it will go down as one of the best. Now with Brock Lesnar winning, I am no fan of Brock. I don't know who Christian Oldhate is, Brandon, and if you're trying to be a clown, that's not funny. Anyways, DC, and here's the thing about Brock. You can now get a sense that Brock's not going to be fighting DC. DC and Carl's Jr. have this big promotion they're running where you could send in a fighter that you want DC to fight. DC wouldn't do it like that if it was locked in stone. He doesn't want to fight John Jones. I don't know why he doesn't want to give Stipe his rematch. But if DC's looking for another opponent besides Brock, I don't know who it's going to be. But I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I absolutely loved Charlotte snapping like a dry twig and going bananas on Ronda Rousey. Although, here's the thing. If you're going to have either a face turn heel or a heel really go off, it needs to be more than what it was. Yeah, she busted up Ronda. Ronda had some blood pouring out of her, but not enough. It has to be like an old school Piper Hogan sort of deal. Ronda needed to have the blood just flow out of her face. Okay? That would have been, it would have, what Charlotte did to Ronda was great. It was fun to watch. The story arc is getting better between the two of them. But it would have been better had she busted her up more. And I don't know, maybe Ronda, they told Ronda, look, you're going to get busted up, you're going to bleed. And she was like, no. That's why I left the UFC. I don't want to bleed. I don't know. I wasn't in the meeting rooms. I'm not that lucky. I think, yes, that's very true, Rudy. But still, if you want someone to truly snap and you're going to promote it as, oh my God, somebody snapped tonight, then you have to go to that level. Not a weekly thing, but every once in a while. Once a year, twice a year. Someone has to take the bullet and take one for the team and just flow like Niagara Falls with red. I think I can watch, I was going to say Jimmy Rollins. I think I could watch Rollins and Nakamura 100 times over. Those two guys just work really, really well together. And it's always exciting to see what they're going to do next. And quite frankly, we're probably all, of course I'm right, Rudy. I'm always right. Here's the thing. You can probably say in just a matter of time, we're going to see those two at it 100 times. Because when the WWE goes to Fox, once the UFC goes to ESPN, Fox didn't pay them $1 bazillion for half a roster. They're going to want the full roster. So this SmackDown Raw thing is, going to be a lot of mixing and mashing. So I want to really fast before we go, I want to do the raffle because there's a prize to give away. So the first question that's getting answered is number 3. Rudy Escher, look at that. If you were Dana White, what would you do about the Diaz brothers? I would trade them. I would package both of the Diaz brothers to Bellator for Fedor. That's what I would do. Okay? Put Fedor in the UFC and look, both Diaz brothers like Scott Coker. There's no USADA there. There's no issues there. You heard Mike Jackson talking about dealing with USADA. I would package both Diaz brothers to Bellator for Fedor. I like that. Okay, so Rudy, you will be heads. Let me just write that down as I hit my mic, which is unprofessional of me. And question number 2 is, Rudy, again, you don't get to play twice. Number 2, Kenny Hodgkins. You will be the second one eligible. Who do you favor in a Conor Cowboy fight? You know what, guy? I can honestly see a path to victory for Conor. I could see a path to victory for Cowboy. Right now, Cowboy's a little bit hotter. You got to go with the hot hand, just like in any other sport. Yes, it would be very sick, but it's Fedor, not Fedor. I'm sorry, Rudy. I had to go there. But anyways, back to Kenny's question. I can see them both winning, but like I said, I'd go with Cowboy right now. Cowboy's just a hotter fighter. But I don't even know if those two are going to meet. Remember, look, Cowboy smiled when the reporters asked him if it was Conor. I don't know. I don't really know. It could be maybe Dustin Poirier. Could be maybe Tony Ferguson while Khabib is sitting out. There's other people in that lightweight, the top of the lightweight division, that could match up with both of those guys. All right, now, really fast. My Japanese coin, I'm going to flip it. And heads. Rudy, congratulations, Mr. Asher. You're the proud winner of a prize that will be coming to you. I prefer you pick it up because I don't want to mail it. So, remember, if you guys want to win a prize from this raffle, you must send in one question on the Psyche Prods Facebook page question raffle thread. It's very simple. We have time to do, and I hope they're listening. Let's do one of our other favorite things to do here is on this day in MMA history.
Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
How do you guys like that? I can't get that. Every time I do this segment, that Fred Flintstone song was rattling in my head. So I figured, what the hell? Why not put it up? So, on this day in MMA history, Aiz Zahabi, it's his birthday. He turns 32 years old today. Gerald Harris from Oklahoma, Big Gerald, turns 40. I don't even remember 40 years old. Also, 2011 was a double banger. UFC 139 and Bellator 58 happened today in MMA history. Bellator 58 was obviously when Michael Chandler submitted Eddie Alvarez to become lightweight champion. I know right now Curtis Williams is like grunting his teeth. Yes, that's when Chandler took your boy Eddie Alvarez down. UFC 139 obviously was Hendo beating Shogun Rua, one of my favorite MMA names of all time. Wanderlei KOing Chung Lee, another favorite name of mine. And a young fighter who lives not too far away from here. I think it's more this way. Mr. Chris Weidman submitting Tom Lawlor. That's what happened on today in MMA history. As we wrap up, there is one other thing I want to bring up. And it's something that talked a little bit about with Mike Jackson, this whole weight cutting thing. I have said this over and over and over again. It would be better if fighters fought at their natural walk-around weight. That's one, and you do the hydration test, which is what the NCAA does. You have these guys on constant watch, and then you don't have no issues. You really wouldn't. I don't know what that meant. Let me just reboot this for a second. Oh well. So like I was saying, and this whole thing with Cynthia Calvillo, look, it was she admitted it today on a couple of shows. She was on a period. That's why she missed weight. If guys would understand that, and if there was a little bit of an allowance, which I actually like that for women fighters, that there should be an allowance of missing weight up to a pound, 2 pounds either way. Well, they wouldn't be 2 pounds under, 2 pounds over. I think a 2 pound allowance, if a woman is on her period, to let that fight go on, because for her to lose half of her, not half, what is it, like 20% of her purse, that's absolutely retarded, and it's stupid. It really is. We can say that on again, off again, on again, off again is now on again between, oy vey, I hate to say this, Floyd Mayweather and Kenshin Nakasami. God, I hope Tenshin, I know it's only going to be 3 rounds, and I know it's only going to be some little bit of an exhibition. I hope Tenshin puts Floyd out, because Floyd is just so smug, such a smartass. Deserves some comeuppance. As we wrap up, I want to remind everybody, because a lot we couldn't get to, this week coming up, my man, Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz 3. We're going to cover that next Monday. And until next Monday, ladies and gentlemen, I am Cyclone saying, just because you're not an athlete doesn't mean you can't be an athletic supporter. Bye-bye.